Hi, Dr. Karen Can here. Welcome to another edition of the Spiritual Medicine Digest. And this week has been pretty interesting because, thanks to Ascension, we have again become more and more sensitive, and our consciousness has been able to pick up things bigger and bigger in the Infiniverse, which is all of the manifested reality. So, the problems that have come for some sensitive souls is that the awareness of the now versus everything else in the infiniverse has become imbalanced again. Doesn't mean all of us, but many of us have had this issue over the last week or so, which means that you are not paying attention or as aware of now, here in this lifetime, in this body, and possibly more aware of what's going on outside of you, including your alternate timelines, alternate universes, and in one case, alternate God team and spirit team members that were false guides and not really helping that alternate self. So, how do you assess this? Well, I usually do it with Topican Healing. We do an assessment and I call it the awareness balances. So you can ask the divine, how balanced is my awareness of the now and the whole? So, optimally, you want 100% balance. So that may mean, like 94% in the now and 6% in the whole. Like, I think there is some reasons why it is important for us to tap into uh, you know, the information that's of the whole. Possibly during energy healing, it's possible that someone could tap more into or be aware more into the whole. For example, if you're doing a past life reading for someone, or someone's on the table and you get this impression from another timeline, that's important information. It could be for that person. So that awareness balance of the now and the whole may be different during energy healing. But generally, when we're cooking dinner, we're functioning, in other ways in our practical everyday life, our awareness should be more of the now and not of the whole. So check out the percentages, and then you can ask the divine, what's optimal for you specifically? Like, what percentage of the waking time should I be balanced in the now versus the whole? And then you would get an overall balance score for that. Balance means that it's exactly the percentage of each that's ideal for you. And you can also check this when you're sleeping as well. We had a few folks, not so much this past week, but we had a few folks who were excessively attending to outside of themselves when they were sleeping, and there were usually some imbalances that were causing that we could then heal, and then they weren't doing that as much, and so less troubled sleep. So that could be one of the reasons why someone has troubled sleep, is because their awarenesses are outside of the now. And yes, during sleep that is more likely to happen, so your awareness balance while sleeping is going to be, the now and the whole is going to be a little different from when you're awake. But definitely when you're awake, your awareness should be more of the now than of the whole, right? Makes sense? So there is another thing that came up this week. This is new, and that is the balance of awareness within all of the Infiniverse, within the whole. So within the whole, it seems like certain people, especially the sensitive souls, have a tendency to feel or be aware of certain things in multiple timelines that are similar. Now, what we've caught this past week has been folks that deal a lot with entities or evil spirits, ghosts, etc. in alternate timelines. It's like they have a radar for entities, and so they will pick up entities in alternate timelines, and if they don't have discernment, will not realize that they're sensing entities in other timelines, not in the now. Make sense? So sometimes it's, in alternate timelines. So for example, if you happen to be, the incarnation of Archangel Michael or something, okay, in another timeline, or multiple other timelines, it's possible, if your job was to clear and heal entities, that you would have this radar and entities would be around you, and so you might be more aware of that. So there are ways of testing, this as well. It gets a little bit too complex for me to put it in this kind of video, but in some of the Light Warrior Revolution classes, we'll be going over some of this and how to do all that. Just so you know that you want to check for your awareness balance of the now and the whole, and also within the whole. And you can also check your awareness balance within the now as well. That again hasn't come up this week, but in the past it has, because there are 8 different awarenesses of the now that I mentioned way back, where it was, where it was in the forefront. Like again, it hasn't come up, so don't worry about that right now. But the next awareness that has come up recently that is relevant now to us is the balanced awareness of the self. So that means that when you have a balanced awareness of the self, when you're 100% balanced, that means that you are aware this body, this timeline, less aware of alternate selves, less aware of alternate bodies, less aware of other people's stuff, that kind of, trends, which is a good thing. So you want to check your balanced awareness of the self, and that should be 100%. Right? Now, if you don't need to know more, then you can go ahead and do a Topocan healing command or directive to go ahead and heal that. So it'll go something like this. Then you can go ahead and, repeat after me if you want. So I now command that all my awarenesses, including the now and the whole, within the now, within the whole, and of the self, be completely balanced in this and all timelines where I exist in the highest and best way. Thank you. And so for those of you that do need to know more, because you happen to be a more complex healing type, which means you have higher responsibilities and you need more information or need to be more conscious of it, you can actually turn to the Topocan healing guides. Okay, this is in one of the courses, Topocan level 1 training, and that will help you discern what it is preventing you from having a complete balanced awareness. So balance awareness of the self is brand new this week. And there will be other awarenesses that will come up as the ascension occurs, but I'll report those, when they become relevant. So the other thing I want to share with you is that when we're doing divine quadrant scores, also known as the cornerstones of divine alignment, it gives us an idea of how aligned you are to your divine path. And normally when we ask for this, I'll just check in with a client and I'll ask if we need to know from this timeline or the lowest of all timelines. And normally what's relevant first is this timeline. So we clean, clear, and heal all issues related to light, love, and truth and wholeness in this timeline. And then as that becomes higher and higher and higher, over 90%, then oftentimes we then go to other timelines naturally, and we start healing those, and we start the source gets us to catalog, what the divine quadrant score is for the lowest of all timelines. And what's interesting this past 7 days is that the divine quadrants that naturally is showing up is the lowest of all timelines, not the one in this timeline, or at least for my clients. So just note that if you do divine quadrant scoring, love, light, truth, and wholeness, you may need to ask, is this for the lowest of all my timelines, or is this for this timeline only? Because it seems like the lowest of all our timelines, whether that be a parallel or non-parallel timeline, does want to heal now, ready to heal now. And so there are sometimes complex issues going on with those timelines, but due to Ascension, it is affecting many of us. So we can kind of manifest in our physical reality what's going on in the other reality based on the energetics and what we're, paying attention to. So if your divine quadrants comes up super low all of a sudden, then just note that it might be because the universe is helping you automatically assess what's going on in the lowest of all your timelines. Sometimes if you have issues in terms of feeling something, you're not feeling well, you're feeling a little depressed, lack of motivation, something like that, just check in to see if that's your stuff. Because as we get more and more sensitive with the ascension process, very often things like mass consciousness or Mother Earth is going through their healing phases. And when that happens, sometimes emotions come up that are uncomfortable. I know for me, and it still takes me a little while to check in, but usually within the day I figure it out, that if I'm not feeling motivated, or I'm feeling a little down, or I'm not good enough, or something like that, then eventually I'll figure out that, wait a second, whose stuff is this, and then I'll check in. And in the last week, there've been a lot of mass consciousness stuff going on. And the funny thing is, my dog is a great like reporter of this, because he'll start acting really weird and it'll drive my husband nuts. So he'll be really needy and whiny, and then when I check in to what he's paying attention to, it's his alternate timeline, or he is feeling the ails, or the ills rather, of mass consciousness. So then I go ahead and send healing to mass consciousness, and then just kind of get restore his boundaries, so he doesn't emotionally, because he's a very emotional dog, doesn't emotionally tap into mass consciousness. And I know for me, as soon as I send healing energy to mass consciousness consciously, that just releases it for me, and then I pretty much get back to my normal bubbly self. So so try that out, see if that works for you. Check in if you're not feeling well emotionally, whether you're tapped into or resonating with mass consciousness, and then you can just go ahead and cut that off and say stop, or send healing to mass consciousness and let me let go of these energies that aren't mine. Make sense? Okay, so that's the major news for this week. So a few announcements for those of you in the monthly masterclasses, Topican Healing Masterclasses, as part of the Light Warrior Revolution. We are going to be studying depression and anxiety. Yes, so that has been requested. So we're going to do some masterclasses on that. And awareness balance, by the way, is one of the sections that in the assessment form that we are going to go through in great detail. So that's coming up this month. And the Monday radio show is my friend Mary Claire from Ottawa. She is a sex and intimacy expert for men and women. She works with couples, and she actually has a published book coming out very soon, if not already, called The Honeymoon Playbook. I'm sure it's going to be spicy and fun, because that's how she is, Mary Claire. I think last time she was on the show, she was asking what my underwear looked like. It was like, oh my God, do I have to say this on live radio? Anyway, it's going to be a really fun show, so join us 12 noon on Monday for the interview with Mary Claire Tovet. And if you happen to speak French, you can speak French to her as well. She's bilingual. She's from Canada, and it's like I said, it's going to be super, super fun. And if you haven't joined me on the Light Warrior Network, please do that. It's a Facebook group. It's absolutely free for you to join to get some additional support and help. We have weekly prayer requests and motivational Mondays and things like that, and some activities. And now monthly mini healings and readings from moi. We used to do this on the radio show, but it got a little too full with all the people trying to call in, and it was too challenging. So because most of my tribe is on Facebook, the grand majority, we decided that we were going to just do it on Facebook. So we did a Facebook Live, and today we actually did this month's free mini healings and readings, and there were like, 103 comments or something, probably growing. So a lot of mini healings and mini readings, and then you get to see how we use these guys and how we do Topican healing. It's actually pretty fun. So if you're not part of that network, please join us, Light Warrior Network. And you can go to lightwarriornetwork.com, and that'll just forward you to the Facebook group. And just click to request to join, and it will approve you after you answer the questions. And then you'll be all set for participating in the next month's mini healing. Yeah, that'd be fun. Okay, great guys. This is it for this week, and thanks so much for being here and for connecting. And if you're a YouTube person and you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. All right, take care. We will talk to you next week. Bye. Lots of love.